Radio.com.
Yes, sir. We're going to continue talking about these teams that did not make the playoffs.
Because what fun is it to talk about winning teams?
Exactly.
I want dysfunction.
That's exactly what we're about to get into.
I want to talk about Rex Ryan's fat ass.
You need to shut your fat ass up.
Big old Brandon Jacobs.
Thank you, Brandon. We appreciate that.
Soft.
So over, I guess, this past week, Greg McElroy went ahead and talked to Greg McElroy.
Who's that?
Is the fourth string backup for the New York Jets quarterback.
Okay.
He got a ring
From?
Alabama. Respect that. Respect that ring.
Defense carried him to one.
You know, whatever you want to say. But Greg McElroy was talking to his people back in Alabama. It was an Alabama radio station.
The only people that probably want to talk to him.
Probably.
And after this, the only people that will talk to him. But let's go ahead. I digress.
So they asked him what was the locker room like when basically they got eliminated from playoff contention. This is what Greg McElroy had to say.
Well, it's definitely not a fun place to be, I can assure you. It's the first time I've ever been around extremely selfish individuals, and I think that's maybe the nature of the NFL. But there were people within our locker room that didn't care whether we won or lost. As long as they got there, they really had good games individually, and that's the disappointing thing. And it's going to take a lot to kind of come together next year. And I think the fact that we struggled at times this year really led to a really just corrupt mindset within the locker room. But I think that we're going to regroup, and I know we'll be a better team because of the trials and tribulations this year.
That's cute. He said we.
Yes, we.
We next year.
Okay, now
We.
I'm gonna be honest.
Go right ahead.
When I first heard this, and I first heard some of the quotes, and I was like, ugh. Well, Greg McElroy, you've played your last game for the Jets and maybe in the league. Because the only thing that I remember from you from this past year was you running about 17 yards past the line of scrimmage and you trying to throw it into the end zone. Mm-hmm. That's the only thing I remember from Greg McElroy this past offseason.
Hey, man,
even though I think he could probably give Mark Sanchez a run for his money from the way Mark Sanchez has played this year.
Yeah.
Yeah. When I first heard it, I'm like, man, you probably better off not saying anything. But then when I thought about it and I saw it and I actually heard the whole clip and the question, because the guy asked him what that locker room was like after, the whole situation, after they missed the playoffs, and he was just being honest. He answered the question. He was being honest. Now, I understand he said some things that most, like locker room, but he didn't name any names.
It doesn't matter if you don't name names.
He didn't name names.
You are
Mm-hmm.
was he undrafted?
Mm-hmm.
You are an undrafted free agent, quarterback, didn't play a snap this season.
Nope.
Didn't put your pads on this season.
Nope, he was on IR.
You were on IR.
Yep.
It's not your place to talk about what's going on in that locker room.
All right.
It's not his place.
Okay. Now, it may not be his place, but I look at it like this. Somebody had to say it on the team.
Not him.
Not him, but nobody else was going to say it.
This is my problem.
Mm-hmm.
He's coming from college, and he's all where it's all rah-rah,
exactly.
team, and the head coach is the leader, and the guys got to be all stoic and act a certain way. This is the professional football ranks.
Mm-hmm.
What have you done for me lately? You have to produce. So if guys are worried about getting theirs, you damn right they're worried about getting theirs, because if they don't get theirs, they're going to get cut.
Exactly.
So that's why guys are worried about getting theirs. Guys are worried about getting theirs because you have to feed your family with this. So if you don't take care of business and you don't get your numbers, if you don't hit that yardage kick that you need to get that bonus,
right,
you're not getting that check.
Look, no, and I totally understand that.
That's what he's not understanding.
But see, that's the thing. I think he was naive going into it because
he's still naive.
He's naive going into it because he did come from Alabama. He did have the rah-rah. He was the captain of the national championship team. When you come from a program like Alabama, it's a big deal. So when you go into the situation and you're like, well, what's all this? You know what I'm saying? Literally, very naive kid going in that situation, seeing things that, let's be honest, goes on in every team in the NFL. Okay,
exactly.
Every team in the NFL has to deal with this.
So why is he talking about it?
He's just saying that, and I think from his perspective, when you hear from his perspective, it's almost like a shock to him. That is like that. And he even said it probably is going on in the whole NFL.
So why is this news? If it's happened in every locker room, why is it news?
Because it's the Jets. Because of the Jets, and then what happened just before this quote came out with Santonio Holmes, LT rolled that bus over Santonio Holmes. I know LT has records, and LT can do that.
LT is the biggest clown in the NFL. He was the main one crying how he got done in San Diego because he wasn't producing.
Right.
And then he got mad when the Patriots did the Sean Merriman. He's a clown. LT has not been relevant in 5 years. I don't want to hear nothing from LT.
But you have LT. I mean, I'm talking about kind of driving the bus over, even though he has credentials.
Now, that's not leadership. You can't. He's naming names, throwing people under the bus. You can't do that.
I know, but
that's a problem. But I have a bigger problem with what LT did, and I have a problem with what McElroy did as well. You can't. Both of them are wrong.
McElroy didn't name names. He just said
it's not about naming names. If you're
asking me, you know what I'm saying, what the locker room was like, and I'm a rookie, I'm like, I didn't expect it to be like this.
You're not allowed to speak out about problems. Family business stays in-house. That's how I was raised, and I bet you that's how most people were raised. If you're new someplace, like let's say you just walk in, you're working over at Gospel 1399, you're the morning show producer. You walk in and you say, man, y'all selfish and this, that, and you try to talk about it, they're going to look at you like, what? It's not your place to say nothing.
Now, but see, okay, it's a good example.
It's not your place.
Because it's not my place to talk about their business. Because if I did say something like that, there's only 2 people that I work with.
It's the same situation.
Saying, if you're in a locker room like that, and you're saying some people are selfish, and some people are, and it kind of messes up when you start losing, it kind of people start going for theirs. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying that it's him like really spilling the beans on anything big here. I think I'm more saying this is not a big deal. I think that's what I'm more so saying. This is not a big deal, and they're making it more than what it is.
It's not a big deal, but he has no business saying that. Like the problem is you went out and you said this that you need to say, and now you have to go back in the locker room and you have to look guys in the eye like Bart Scott. You got to look a guy like Cromartie in his eye. You got to look at Mark Sanchez. You got to look at Santonio.
That's why he can't come back.
Those guys are going to be there.
Yeah,
those are the guys that are going to be there.
Look,
it's easy to get rid of you.
I am not saying he's going to be there.
What you're forgetting, what you forgot.
Okay, go ahead.
This is a players' league.
Oh, I know that.
This is the professional football.
I know that. I understand that.
Nobody in the NFL is playing for that name on the front of the jersey because the second you can't produce, that name on the front of the jersey will cut you loose.
Oh no, I understand that.
Play for yourself.
No, what I'm saying is, I understand where he's coming from. I don't mind him saying it. I don't think it's a big deal. But at the end of the day, they can't keep him.
He's not qualified to say that.
He
hasn't been there long enough to understand.
This is why I think he might be qualified to say it, because he is on IR, right? He's watching everything. He sees everything.
He's been in one NFL locker room his entire life.
Exactly. And he's very like his nose was wide open when he got into this bad boy. You know what I'm saying?
He's not.
He's seeing it like this is weird. This is different for him, and he's explaining the difference that happened to him. He didn't expect. I don't know why, but he didn't expect it to be like that.
For you to come out and flat out call players selfish and saying they're out for theirs, who are you? He doesn't know anything about those guys' family situation. He doesn't know anything about their
contracts.
He doesn't know enough about being an NFL player.
Because I'm be honest with you, I doubt McElroy has any escalators.
He is Greg McElroy is about as qualified as me to speak on the inner workings of an NFL locker room. I guarantee you he does not have a friend in that locker room.
Not now.
I mean, even before, he probably didn't talk to nobody because there's a pecking order. And if you're not suiting up, if you're not playing, if you're on IR, you're not part of the team.
Right.
That guy in Denver, when he was on IR, he killed himself because I'm not trying to be funny,
right?
But I'm just being real. When you're on IR, they don't even consider you a part of the team. Go sit in the training room. Plus, you're a rookie.
Right.
You got a hurt thumb. You can't even carry my bags. Get out of my face.
Right.
Greg McElroy, shut up. And go sell insurance because that's your next career.
That's the next move.
He's got to.
That's the next move right there.
He can button up well. He's a clean cut white dude. He can go sell some insurance. But he ain't. You won't be quarterback in the Jets.
No. It's almost impossible for him to be. Back to that team.
Matt Hasselbeck said something on Twitter to Antonio Cromartie. Remember during the lockout? And Cromartie
was ready to kill him.
I will bust you up. Will bust your head. You know who you talking to? I got 8 kids, all of them 2 years old.
I'm angry. Do you want to see what my checks look like after 8?
So, McElroy, he's not.
McElroy, keep your head up, baby.
If Sanchez would have said it, that would have been great. He's been in the locker room long enough, and that would have made him saying, all right, man, we need to tighten it up. But McElroy, no.
You know who else who feels great about this?
Who's that?
Rex Ryan.
Why is that?
Because he already came out and said I didn't have the pulse with the team, and then you have somebody just call out the team like
Rex Ryan is
right.
full of it. Rex Ryan didn't have the pulse of the team. That's nonsense. Rex Ryan is telling the media what they want to hear. He's just
puppet,
and they're eating it up. They're eating it up. They're eating it up.
When we come back, we're talking a little NBA.
Rex Ryan was raised in NFL locker rooms. He knows how the selfishness works. He knows how players work.
When we come back, we're talking a little NBA. Talk about what's going on with the Mavericks, the champs. Kobe got a boxing glove for a hand right now and still jacking it up. 39 the other night.
Still showing you why he's the best. Still showing you why he's the best in the game.
When we come back to the booth with Big Med and J. Lee.
ChicagolandSportsRadio.com.
Let's say you're a dad and you want to take your son and daughter